Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Well, welcome everyone. I hope everyone can hear.
Hare Krishna.
Can everyone hear?
Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, I can hear you, but there's no sound. There's no sound of the Mahamantra, the japa tape.
Oh, actually, I played Prabhu. It is already done 108 rounds. So I stopped.
Okay, no
So,
problem.
so welcome everyone to today's Srimad-Bhagavatam, Delhi edition of Srimad-Bhagavatam, presented by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as Hare Krishna Movement. So today's class will be conducted by His Grace Yaśodā-nandana Dāsa, a senior disciple of Sri Prabhupada. He first saw Sri Prabhupada as a teenager and soon joined the Hare Krishna movement in 1960. He received his first initiation from Sri Prabhupada in August 1969, and he was instrumental in helping the funds of construction of three major temples: the Krishna Balram temple in Vrindavan, the Chandrodaya Mandir in Mayapur near Kolkata, West Bengal, and Shri Radha Madan Moh temple in Hyderabad. And he traveled extensively through South India with Guru Kripa Swami in 1972 and 73, later in 75 and 76 with Achyutanand Swami. He was also placed in charge of the installation of deities in Hyderabad temple in 1976 and later in the temple in Fiji in 1977. He later in 1976, Sri Prabhupada selected him to manage the Bhaktivedanta Swami Gurukul in Vrindavan. So now, without further delay, I would like to turn the program to him. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Welcome, everyone. Today, as we discussed in our various emails, we will be reading a few selected passages from the lives of two great acharyas in our sampradaya, and we will also be dealing with the divinity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As we know, last week was Gaur Purnima on Tuesday, according to Mayapur calendar. And the next day after Gaur Purnima is the called Jagannath Mishra Utsava, which Jagannath Mishra is the father of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the day after Lord Chaitanya's birthday, there's a big celebration. All the Vaishnavas will have a big program and big feasting on that day. But being that this is a very long reading of the evidence compiled by our great acharyas, former acharyas, regarding the very special position of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, today we will take some time and read some of these evidences that have been compiled. But before we start, those of you who have received, there's two great acharyas in our sampradaya. They're from the Madhva side, who had their disappearance day earlier in the week. One was Vadiraj Tirtha. Vadiraj Tirtha appeared between, he was born in 1480, and he lived till 1600, 120 years. And I'm just going to read a few things about his life. It's described, he occupies a very exalted place in the galaxy of saints in the Madhva Parampara. Some give him a very lofty status along with Jayatirtha, Sri Vyasatirtha, and Sri Raghavendra Tirtha, whereas others consider him second only to Madhvacharya. In any case, he is universally acknowledged as a great saint with immense spiritual powers, in addition to being an astounding poet, philosopher, social organizer, reformer, debater, and prolific writer. What happened during the time of this great saint, basically he lived for 120 years, out of which 112 years as a sannyasi, he entered Vrindavana or his samadhi alive. No other saint, irrespective of doctrinal affiliations, can claim this distinction. He saw 5 paryayas and enter his Vrindavana or his samadhi alive in 1600. He went around India twice and captured his experience in a travel log. What's interesting about this Madhva saint is that every night, every day when he used to do his puja, after the puja, he used to prepare a preparation of chickpeas and molasses and different kind of foods. And he used to put it on his head, and Lord Hayagriva used to come there and take this special prasad that was offered to him. Very, very special distinction. There is a picture of him. I don't know if it's there in the picture that I sent earlier, but this, here we go. This is Vadiraj Tirtha, and Lord Hayagriva is taking the special prasad that he prepared every day and coming directly to eat from him. In addition to that, he was a formidable debater against the Mayavadis. He was a very powerful Vaishnava who traveled all over India, especially South India, to basically advance the cause of Vaishnavism. So that is one Acharya this week that departed. Then there's another one named Vyasatirtha. Vyasatirtha also lived. He lived during the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu between 1460 and 1539. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born in 1486, and he lived until 1534. This great saint departed a few years after Lord Chaitanya. So he was born 1460, and he lived till 1539. And he was very famous for his writings and his spreading of Vaishnava philosophy. And he established many temples in South India. What was particular of him is that he wrote several books that really shook up the entire Mayavadi community, basically because he was a very powerful writer and debater, basically explaining the philosophy of Vaishnavism and challenging the tenets. Here we go. This is Vyasatirtha sitting on a Vyasasana with his Vaishnav Madhva Tilak. Basically, there are 4 sampradayas from the beginning of creation. One is called Brahma Sampradaya. This is from Srila Prabhupada in a letter to Upendra. One is called Brahma Sampradaya and is coming down by disciplic succession from Brahma. Another Sampradaya is coming down from Lakshmi, came Sri Sampradaya. Another is coming down from the Kumaras. They are known as Nimbarka Sampradaya. Another Sampradaya is coming from Lord Shiva, Rudra Sampradaya, or Vishnu Swami. These are 4 bona fide Vaishnava Sampradayas that are accepted by the bona fide spiritualists. The impersonalist Sampradaya is not original, neither the impersonalist Sampradaya or party can help us. At the present moment, there are so many Sampradayas, but we have to test them about their method of disciplic understanding. Anyway, all the 4 Sampradayas above mentioned, they are after worshiping the Supreme Lord Vishnu in his different expansions. And some of them are in favor of worshiping Radha Krishna. In the later age, the Brahma Sampradaya was handed down through Madhva-Ācārya. In this Madhva-Ācārya disciplic succession came Ishwarapuri. this Ishwarapuri was accepted as spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, we, being in disciplic succession of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are known as the Madhva Sampradaya. And because Lord Chaitanya appeared in Bengal, which country is called Gauda Desha, our Sampradaya party is known as Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. But all these Sampradayas are non-different from one another because they believe and worship the Supreme Lord. Any other Sampradaya who are impersonalists or voidists or non-devotees are rejected. They are rejected by us. My Guru Maharaj was in the 10th generation from Lord Chaitanya. We are the 11th from Lord Chaitanya. The disciplic succession is as follows: 1, Sri Krishna; 2, Brahma; 3, Narada; 4, Vyasa; 5, Madhva; 6, Padmanabha; 7, Nrihari; 8, Madhava; 9, Akshobhya; 10, Jayatirtha; 11, Jnana Sindhu; 12, Purushottama; 13, Vidyanidhi; 14, Rajendra; 15, Jayadharma; 16, Purushottama; 17, Vyasatirtha; 18, Lakshmipati; 19, Madhavendra Puri; 20, Ishwarapuri Advaita Nityananda; 21, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu; 22, Swarup Damodara Rupa; 23, Jiva Raghunatha; 24, Krishna Dasa; 25, Narottama; 26, Vishwanatha; 27, Baladeva Jagannatha; 28, Bhaktivinod Thakur, Gaura Kishore; 29, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Sri Barshabhanavi Dayita Dasa; 30th, Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta. This was from a letter from Srila Prabhupada on February 13th, 1968 to Upendra. Now, regarding Vyasatirtha, it's very interesting that he wrote some books. One book in particular that was analyzing all of the writings of the Mayavadi Sampradaya for several hundred years. He compiled this, and he sent, this was basically defeating all the false premises of the Mayavadi impersonalist Sampradaya. Very interesting that it took a long time for the various Mayavadis to try to reply to this book. And basically, this book is called Nyayamrita. After this book was written, there was one Mayavadi who was born in Bengal who wrote a book. His name was Madhusudana Saraswati. He wrote a book called Advaita Siddhi, trying to refute what Vyasatirtha, the great Vaishnavacharya, had written. And what happened is two students of Madhva, two basically scholars, disguised themselves as Mayavadi students with this tripurndra on their forehead. And they went to this Madhusudana Saraswati and basically told him, we want to learn this Advaita Siddhi from you, this refutation that you have written. So every day they would come disguised as Advaita students, and they basically came there and they would listen to him. And at the end, after many, many months, after he had given his whole explanation of his alleged refutation of Vyasatirtha's book, these two Madhva students, they offered him his Guru Dakshin, which was a refutation of his Advaita Siddhi, a refutation of his so-called refutation. And this went on for many, many years. There was a big debate between the Madhvas and the Mayavadis, and ultimately the Madhvas came victorious. They have been the foremost challengers and enemies of the impersonalist philosophies of the followers of Shankaracharya. Just a little bit of historical, basically, historical notes regarding this great Acharya. So what we will do now today is we will read a few selected verses from, this was compiled by some Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnava devotees, disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And basically it explains the position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maybe if you can display this, what I sent you on the screen, that would be helpful. Prediction of Lord Gauranga's advent in the form of a Brahmana. In the Adi Purana and in the Narada Purana, the Supreme Lord says, Ahameva Dvijashreshto Nityam Prachana Vigrahaha Bhagavad Bhaktarupena Lokam Rakshami Sarvada. I shall advance in the form of a Brahmana devotee, Ahameva Dvijashreshto, and I shall hide my factual identity, Prachanna Vigrahaha. I shall deliver all the worlds, Lokam Rakshami Sarvata. Prediction of his advent as a sannyasi, a person in the renounced order of life. In the Upa Puranas, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, speaks to Srila Vyasadeva. Ahameva kvachid brahman sannyasasramamasritaha hari bhaktim grahayami kalo papahatannaran. O Brahmana, I occasionally take the sannyasa ashrama ashritaha, in an attempt to bring the fallen people of Kali Yuga to take up the path of bhakti or devotional service to Lord Krishna. Hari bhaktim grahayami. Prediction of his actual time of incarnation. In the Kurma Purana, it is stated, Kalina Dashyamananam Uddaraya Tanu Britam Janma Pratama Sandhyayam Bhavishyati Dvijalaye. The Supreme Person will appear in the first part of the age of Kali, Janma Karma Pratama Sandhyayam. He will appear in the home of a Brahmana, Bhavishyati Dvijalaye, to save the embodied souls, Uddaraya Tanubritam, burning in the troubles of Kali Yuga. Description of the purpose of Sri Chaitanya's incarnation. In the Garuda Purana, the Supreme Person says, Kalina Dashyamananam Paritranaya Tanubritam Janma Pratama Sandhyayam Karishyami Dvijatishu. In the first part, Pratama Sandhya of the age of Kali, I will come amongst the Brahmanas, Karishyami Dvijatishu, to save the fallen souls, Paritranaya Tanubritam, who are being burned by the troubles of the age of Kali, Kalina Dashyamananam. Prediction of the name of his mother and the actual name of his future birthplace. In the Garuda Purana, the Supreme Lord says, Aham Purno Bhavishyami Yuga Sandhya Visheshataha Mayapure Navadvipe Bhavishyami Sachi Sutaha. I will take birth as the son of Sachi, Bhavishyami Sachi Sutaha, in Navadvipa Mayapur, Mayapure Navadvipe. I will come in my complete spiritual form in the first part of Kali Yuga. Prediction of the name of his future first wife and his future assumption of the sannyas order. In the same Garuda Purana, it is also stated, Kale Pratama Sandhyayam Lakshmi Kanto Bhavishyati Dharu Brahma Samitasta Sannyasi Gaura Vigrahaha. In the first part of Kali Yuga, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will come in a gold-like form. First, he will become the husband of Lakshmi, Srimati Lakshmi Devi, Lord Chaitanya's first wife. Then he will become a sannyasi near Lord Jagannath, who will appear in a divine wooden form. Prediction of the bodily color of Sri Chaitanya and the nature of his future activities. In the Nrisimha Purana, it is said, Satyadeti kuladinasha samaye simhurdva martya kritis tritayam dasakandaram paribhavam rameti namakritihi gopalan paripalayan vrajapure baramaram dwapare ghoranga priyakirtanaha kaliyuge chaitanya nama prabhu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who in the Satya Yuga appeared as a half man, half lion, to cure a terrible disease that had ravaged the Daityas, and who in the Trayuga appeared as a person named Rama, Lord Ramachandra, the person who defeated the 10-headed demon Ravana, and who in the Dwapara Yuga removed the earth's burden and protected the Gopa, coward men, people of Rajapura, will appear again in the Kali Yuga. His form will be golden. He will delight in chanting the Lord's holy names, and his name will be Chaitanya. Prediction of the future advent of Sri Chaitanya by his direct name. In the Padma Purana, it is said, Yatra Yogeshvara Sakshad Yogi Chintyo Janardanaha Chaitanya Vapuraste Vesandrananda Tatmakaha. The Supreme Personality, Janardana, who is the object of the yogi's meditation, Yogi Chintyo Janardanaha, who saves the devotees from various sufferings and who is the master of all yogic practices, Yogeshvaraha, who is always full of divine transcendental ecstasy and bliss, Sandra Ananda Atmakaha, will advent in his own divine form of Sri Chaitanya, Chaitanya Vapuhu. Let me just go ahead a little further. There's a couple more verses I want to analyze further down. Further down, please. Okay, hold on here. Hold on. Whoop, a little bit up. Prediction of the color of Sri Chaitanya and the nature of his future associates. In the Agni Purana, it is said, Prasantatma Lambakantas Ghorangas Tasuravritaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead will come in a golden form, Gora Anga, full of peace, Prasantatma, and a beautiful long neck, Lambakantaha. He will be surrounded by many saintly devotees, Sura Avritaha. No, this is an indirect prediction of the future advent of the members of the Pancha Tattva, prediction of the characteristics of Sri Chaitanya. In the Matsya Purana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead says, Mundo Gora Sudir Gangas Trishrotas Tirasambhava Dayaluhu Kirtana Grahi. Oh, hold on. Dayaluhu Kirtana Grahi Bhavishyami Kalo Yuge. In the age of Kali, I shall advent Bhavishyami Kalo Yuge, where the three rivers meet, Trishrotas Tirasambhavaha. I shall have a shaven head, Mundaha. I shall have a golden complexion, Gauraha. I will be very kind and always chant the holy name of Krishna, Dayaluhu Kirtana Grahi. Prediction of the name of the river where Sri Chaitanya will take his birth, and other characteristics. In the Vayu Purana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead state, Shuddhu Ghora Sudir Gango, Gangatira Samudbhabaha, Dayaluhu Kirtana Grahi, Bhavishyami Kalau Yuge. In the age of Kali Yuga, I shall come, Bhavishyami Kalau Yuge, in a place on the bank of the Ganges, Gangatira Samudbhabaha. I will be very pure, Shuddhaha, have a golden complexion, Gauraha, and be very tall, Sudir Gangaha, and chant the holy names of Krishna, Vayu Purana. Prediction that the Supreme Lord will leave Goloka and come in a golden form. In the Markandeya Purana, the Supreme Personality of God declares, Golokam cha parityaja lokanam tranakaranat Kalo Ghoranga Rupena Lilalavanya Vigraha. In the Kali Yuga, I will leave Goloka, and to save the people of the world, I will become the handsome and playful Lord Gauranga. Prediction of one of the purpose of Sri Chaitanya's appearance. In the Varaha Purana, the Supreme Personality of God declares, Ahame Dvadvijasreshto Lila Prachurya Vigraha Bhagavad Bhakta Rupena Lokam Rakshami Sarvada. I shall come as the best of the Brahmanas. Ahameva Dvijasreshta. I will exhibit many pastimes, Lila Prachurya Vigraha, in the form of a devotee, Bhagavad Bhakta Rupena. I shall deliver the people of the world, Lokam Rakshami Sarvada. Let's go further down in the compilation here. There's a couple of verses that I want to deal with. Further down. Keep going further down. Okay, here we go. This verse here is also quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita by Gopinath-Acharya when he was preaching to Sarvabhauma-Bhattacharya. Other major Vedic literature describing characteristics of the event of Sri Chaitanya. The great epic Mahabharata, Dhanadharma, Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra, points out the divine characteristics of Sriman Mahaprabhu's appearance. Suvarna Varna Hemango Varangas Chandanangadi Sannyasa Krit Samasanto Nishtashanti Parayanaha. He has a golden complexion, Suvarna Varnaha. His limbs are very beautiful, Vara Anga, and are smeared with sandalwood pulp, Chandan Angadi. He has the appearance of molten gold, Hema Anga. The Supreme Lord Chaitanya accepts the renounced order of life, Sannyasa Krita. He is fully sense control or equipoise, Sama, and is completely peaceful, Sama. He is completely fixed in the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna, Nishta. He is the highest abode of devotion and transcendental peace. He silences the Mayavadi impersonalist, Nishta Shanti Parayanaha. The Sanskrit word Suvarna Varna indicate one who has a gold-like complexion. The Vedic text to support this point is Yada Pasya Pasyate Rakma Varnam Kartaramisham Purusham Brahma Yonim. The word Rukma Varnam Kartaramisham refers to the Supreme Person Sri Chaitanya, who has a complexion like molten gold. This is also quoted, that particular verse, in Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita purports. Go further down, there's another verse that I wanted to deal with. Just keep going down. Oh, here we go. Are there any other relevant scriptural reference in the Vedas describing the appearance or qualities of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? The Shvetashvatara Upanishad, chapter 6, text 7, describe the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Lord Chaitanya. Tamishwaranam paramam maheshwaram, tam devatanam paramam cha devatam, patim patinam paramam parastad, vidama devam bhuvanesham idyam. O Supreme Lord, you are the Supreme Maheshwara, the worshipable deity of all the demigods, and the Supreme Lord of all lords. You are the controller of all controllers, the personality of Godhead, the Lord of everything worshipable. Shveshvatara Upanishad, chapter 3, text 12-14. Mahan Prabhur Vepurushaha Satpasyesha Pravartakaha Sunir Malam Mimam Praptimishano Jyotiravyayaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Mahaprabhu, who disseminates transcendental knowledge, transcendental enlightenment. Just to be in touch with him is to be in contact with the indestructible Brahma Jyoti. There are many other references, but we will proceed with the singing of Jaya Radha Madhava and the Srimad-Bhagavatam. Rupa Goswami, can you play Jaya Radha Madhava?
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yaśodā-nandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Swami Bhaktivedanta ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad-Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya, Narayanam namaskritya, Naram cheva narottamam, Naram cheva narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Tato Jayam Mudirayet, Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad-Bhagavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad-Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading of Srimad-Bhagavatam and the commentaries of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. This week, we are studying from Canto 1, Chapter 7, text number 44. Sarahasyo dhanur vedaha, savisargo pasamyamaha, ashtagramascha bhavata, sikshito yadanugrahat. Sarahasyaha, confidential, dhanur vedaha, knowledge in the art of manipulating bows and arrows. Savisarga, releasing. Upasamyama, controlling. Astra, weapons. Gramaha, all kinds of. Cha, and. Bhavata, by yourself. Sikshitaha, learned. Yat, by whose. Anugrahat, mercy of. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. It was by Dronacharya's mercy that you learned the military art of throwing arrows and the confidential art of controlling weapons. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Dhanur Veda, or military science, was taught by Dronacharya with all its confidential secrets of throwing and controlling by Vedic hymns. Gross military science is dependent on material weapons, but finer than that is the art of throwing the arrows saturated with Vedic hymns, which act more effectively than gross material weapons like machine guns or atomic bombs. The control is by Vedic mantras or the transcendental science of sound. It is said in the Ramayana that Maharaja Dasharatha, the father of Lord Sri Rama, used to control arrows by sound only. he could pierce his target with his arrow by only hearing the sound without seeing the object. Okay. So this is a finer military science than the gross material military weapons used nowadays. Arjuna was taught all these confidential parts of the military science, and therefore Draupadi wished that Arjuna should feel obliged to Acharya Drona for all these benefits. And in the absence of Dronacharya, his son is the representative. That was the opinion of the good lady Draupadi. It may be argued why Dronacharya, a rigid Brahmin, should be a teacher in military science. But the reply is that if Brahmin shall become teacher, never mind what the department of knowledge is. A learned Brahmin shall become a teacher, a priest, and the recipient of charity. A bona fide Brahmin is authorized to accept such profession. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Sugurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshata Adadana Strinam Danteridam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Sat Karomismam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. As everyone knows who doesn't live under a cave, there's great military confrontation in the Middle East between different countries, our country, the United States, Israel, and Iran, and various weapons are being used. These weapons are very different than the weapons that are mentioned in this purport, because these current weapons are very indiscriminate. The weapon is released, it goes sometimes into a school, sometimes into an hospital, sometimes into an apartment building or an office building, and all kinds of people are killed or injured. But these weapons that were released by Arjuna were very specific. The Vedic mantras were very specific. For example, we saw earlier in the Bhagavatam where Prabhupada was discussing how when the Brahmastra weapon was released, there is also a way to retract the weapon, to take it back by mantra. But these weapons nowadays, once they're released, there's no way to get them back. Now, there's ways of, allegedly, to counteract these weapons with other missiles. But the problem is, all of this modern science is very indiscriminate when the weapon is released. This is the difference between the Vedic science, which is nowadays is lost. Nobody can really do these mantras and release these bows and arrows these arrows in the Vedic science. Very, very different nowadays. Now, Arjuna was taught by Dronacharya, and Draupadi's argument is that you should be grateful. The Sanskrit word is sikshito yadanugrahat. By the mercy of Dronacharya, you've learned this military science, you got his kindness, you've learned this knowledge, so you should be kind to him and not kill him. And as we will see, there's an interesting lecture by Srila Prabhupada on the same verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam in Vrindavan on October 4th, 1976. What is very interesting after this lecture, this is after Prabhupada sent a telegram to the entire society how one devotee had been kicked out of Prabhupada's society, ISKCON, saying that this devotee became envious because he wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada to get his blessings so he could find a different guru. And Prabhupada's point was, well, if I'm not qualified for you, why would you want my blessings? I'm just going to read a few selected excerpts from that lecture. It's very, very interesting. I was in Vrindavan at the time, and I remember a very specific portion of that lecture. Prabhupada explains, this is also another civilization, that if you are benefited by somebody, you should always remain obliged to him. Sikshito yadanugrahat. There is one Bengali proverb, Guru Maravidya. Guru, you learn from him first of all, then kill him, don't care for Guru. This is demonic. By the grace of Guru, you learn something. Then when you learn something, then you become greater than him. Don't care for Guru. This is demonic. Even if you have learned something, you must feel always obliged. Ata pradarshayat. So this is Vedic civilization. Draupadi advised Arjuna that you have learned, feel always obliged. Ata pradarshayat. So this is Vedic, this military art by his grace, by Guru's grace. Now you are expert in the science of military art. And suppose his son has committed some sinful activity, you cannot punish him, retaliate. So that Guru's family will be aggrieved. This is Vedic culture. Not only he is personally, but in his absence, his wife, his family, you should consider them. So there is nothing about, what is the purport? Read, Prajumna. Dhanurveda, or military science, was taught by Dronacharya with all its confidential secrets of trolling and controlling by Vedic hymns. Gross military science is dependent on material weapons, but finer than that is the art of throwing arrows saturated with Vedic hymns, which act more effectively than gross material weapons like machine guns or atomic bombs. The control is by Vedic mantras or the transcendental science of sound. It is said in the Ramayana that Maharaj Dasharatha, the father of Lord Sri Rama, used to control arrows by sound only. He could pierce his target with his arrow by hearing the sound only, without seeing the object. So this is a finer military science than that of the gross material. Okay, what happened here? Go back up a little bit. Then that of the gross material military. The gross material military weapons. Prabhupada. It is called Shabdavedi. Just like I cannot see where is the bird, he's chirping. But Shabdavedi, I can throw wherever the bird is. It will go and kill. That is called Shabdavedi. Maharaja Dasharatha used it. Therefore, he was cursed that he would die being aggrieved when Ramachandra will be banished. Go on. Prajumna. Then Prabhupada keeps reading. Prabhupada further comments. So there is nothing especial to be explained. The only important part of this verse is that don't learn Guru Maravidya. Even if you become more learned than your guru, you should not exhibit it before your guru. You should always remain a fool number one. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed himself by his example. Guru More Murkadeki Karila Shasan. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila 771. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not Murka, but he has taught us that before Guru, we should always remain a Murka. That is advancement. Not that I know more than Guru. I don't care for Guru. Now give me blessing that I can find out some better Guru. This nonsense, if you don't find, if your Guru is not perfect, then why you are asking a blessing to find another? This is Prabhupada's reference to that so-called disciple that basically wanted to go to some other Guru. He had been contaminated by some caste Brahmins and Radhakund Babajis. So anyway, this Guru Maravidya should be avoided. That is the instruction in this verse we can get. And that is the Vedic way. It is not that Draupadi is speaking, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also speaking. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very strict on this point. As soon as Vallabhacharya spoke that I have written a better comment than Sridhar Swami, immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became offended. He said, oh, you've become more than Sridhar Swami? You don't care for Swami? So he remarked immediately, Swami ye jana namane veshyara bitare. That is the system. You cannot overrule Acharya. Acharya upasanam. Acharya should always be worshipped. Even if you, by ABCD, you have become more learned than the Acharya, that is not possible. Actually, in that lecture, when Prabhupada said that particular sentence, that is not possible, Prabhupada started laughing. But if you foolishly think like that, still, you should not exhibit your foolishness that you know more than the Acharya. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's. By his life example, he has taught us that the more we remain ignorant, foolish before the Acharya or before the Guru, that is more we advance. Real success is how one is faithful to his Guru. That is real success. Yasya deve parabhaktir yata deve tata guru. It is not by education or grammatical knowledge you can learn anything. No, it is by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that grace comes down to the grace of Guru. That grace also does not come directly. We should not be neglecting this point. Yasya devi parabhaktir yata devi tata guru. Tasyete katitaryartaha prakasante mahatmanaha. I just want to make a comment about this particular verse, that one of Prabhupada's disciples, senior disciple in a GBC, once went to Srila Prabhupada and asked him, of everything you have taught, what is the most important verse? And Prabhupada quoted this verse from the Shvetashvara Upanishad, Yasya Devi Parabhaktir. Very, very important verse. Things become revealed by devotion, not by so-called education. No, chiram vichinvan, nachanye ko pichiram vichinvan prasada lesha anugrihat evahi. Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, Text 29. By lil prasada satisfaction, in many places, these things are stated. Yat karunya kataksha sabaivatam ghoram evastu maha. Karunya kataksha, not complete karunya, but kataksha, simply little glancing. He becomes so great. Kevalyam narakayate tridasa purakas. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasadaha. Not that bhagavat prasad is achieved by education and grammar. No. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasadaha. By the mercy of Guru, one can achieve. That is just like a common word. If you love me, love my dog. So you cannot approach Krishna without loving his dog, his servant. Satam prasangat. a person who's trying to distribute the message of Krishna. He is very, very dear dog of Krishna. Nachatasman manusyeshu kashin me priya kritamaha. Bhagavad Gita 1869. So in this way, Prabhupada explains the importance of faithful subservience to the bona fide Acharya, like Srila Prabhupada. Ishan Prabhu, would you like to comment on some of these points? Kindly enlighten us. Hare Krishna.
There's two different approaches. One camp is feeling that in a kind of karma kanda approach, that the spiritual master is given a list of duties. But we see in what we have just read that Srila Prabhupada uses the word love. If you love me, love my dog. Srila Prabhupada also writes in his Chaitanya Charitamrita purports that if the disciple has genuine love for the spiritual master, everything is revealed. All confidential knowledge is revealed. We were reading about Lord Chaitanya today. Lord Chaitanya, Krishna explains in the first chapters of Chaitanya Charitamrita that how he is teaching this Krishna consciousness process that no other avatar has ever given. They have given instruction in Dharma, in Artha, in Kama, in Moksha. So many kinds of instruction, but there is one kind of instruction only that enables one to enter into the Krishna Loka planet. And that is only by love. It cannot be earned by any education. It cannot be earned by how many books one distributes. It cannot be earned by how many temples one opens. It cannot be earned by anything. Rather, Srila Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 2 purport, Krishna accepts only the love with which things are offered to him. Where will we get that love? There was one 1966 lecture where Srila Prabhupada put this question, and he said to his students who were sitting in the storefront on the Bowery, if you can go to the store and purchase this love, you should go immediately. The question, where will we get this love? Therefore, one has to have a spiritual master, prema bhakti yaha hoite. From him this love of Krishna emanates. And what is our business is how to catch it. Srila Prabhupada says in 1.5.25 of Bhagavatam that this devotion, this quality of devotion, it is as much infectious, in a good sense, like an infectious disease. It can't be taught. It must be caught. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, to become infected with the qualities of the pure devotee means that in his intimate association, one has to imbibe the taste of that devotion and sow that in his heart and begin. In the same way, inquiry, submission and service, inquiry in Chaitanya, in teachings of Lord Chaitanya, 12th chapter, Srila Prabhupada says, what is that inquiry? To inquire, quote, to inquire and learn love from the spiritual master, unquote. This is the inquiry, but simply to ask, therefore, without submission. So what is that submission? Submission means that my heart is so much open that I can feel Srila Prabhupada's heart. That is submission. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada writes that if one has genuine love for the spiritual master, everything is revealed. He will share his love for Krishna with us. When we open our heart to Srila Prabhupada, he opens his heart to us. Complete. So this is what is being described by Lord Chaitanya, by Krishna in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, that I will distribute this knowledge, this Raja Vidya, this highest knowledge of love of God in a very unique way. I'll experience it, I'll distribute it by experiencing it myself. This is coming down through the line of disciplic succession. I've read recently one purport where Srila Prabhupada says, from the top of the tree, the man on the ladder takes the ripened fruit of the mango. Very ripened, very sweet. He doesn't drop it down. He hands it to the next man on the ladder, who hands it down, who hands it down, who hands it down, eventually to us. That taste comes through the disciplic succession. Therefore, one who is a qualified acharya or guru is only one who has the taste of pure love of God. That he can deliver that to us. That from him, it's always available. Prema Bhaktiya, from him, this love of Krishna emanates like the sunshine emanates from the sun, filling the whole universe. Our business is to catch it. So therefore we need to have a very intimate relationship with Krishna's pure devotee. So we have to become so close that we can feel what Srila Prabhupada is sharing with us freely. And this is enough for today. Please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna.
Very good points that are being raised. Very important point. The question comes, in our situation, how do we become humble servants of the Acharya? It's like Prabhupada mentioned here, that this bhakti is not acquired simply by grammatical knowledge or Sanskrit knowledge or education. This is through sincerity and service. That's why Prabhupada, many times when devotees kept asking him about learning Sanskrit or learning different languages, and Prabhupada did not make much of an issue of it. His point was, just study the books. This is sufficient for you. What Prabhupada has given as the empowered representative of Lord Chaitanya, this is like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming to us through Srila Prabhupada and giving us the process. The point is, are we ready to accept it? That is the issue. Are we willing to hear submissively the process and do whatever sacrifices we need to do to get that taste? Why is it that we are assembled here and we are hearing the Bhagavatam, just like several times in the past classes, I made references to a devotee in Prince Edward Island, Canada, Gornitai and his good wife Lal Gopar, and then a devotee named Abhiram Thakur. Now, they live in somewhat difficult conditions, especially in the winter. It is not easy over there, but they have wonderful cow protection program and all kinds of beautiful activities going on. Very serious dedication to Srila Prabhupada's order. Why? Because this is what Prabhupada wanted. This is what Prabhupada wanted. Just this week, I do the Shaligram Puja every day and the Govardhan Puja, not that I'm any qualification. And I've tried to grow Tulsi plants over here, but because of the ants and also because of spiders, it's been very, very difficult. So what happened is different devotees have sent me dried Tulsi leaves. And there's a devotee who is an associate of Gauranitai Prabhu, Abhiram Thakur, he sends me these packets of Tulsi plants, of Tulsi leaves. Just 2 days ago, I got this big packet of Tulsi leaves. Not that I'm any qualified, but it's Krishna's arrangement, Krishna's mercy upon me that this devotee, who is a very remarkable devotee, is sending this, and some way or other, I'm using them for the Shalagram worship and Govardhan worship. Now, why do we do this? Because we know that Srila Prabhupada told us that if you do this, you will increase your love for Krishna. Offer Tulsi, offer prayers. The Nectar of Devotion has hundreds of references to all kinds of services we can do. I had a very interesting experience one time in Alachua, Florida, the devotee. I'm talking to this devotee, and he was telling me how he was having problems chanting his round. I said, well, what is the problem? He said, well, I have to do so much driving all over the place to different stores to sell products. I said, well, you have a tape recorder in the car or some kind of a device that you can hear Prabhupada chanting? He said, yeah. He says, well, all you have to do when you drive in the car is put Prabhupada chanting, you chant along with him. If you want to chant with a clicker or beads, like every time I drive with 2 hands on the wheel to drive, and the right hand I have my bead bag. I'm always chanting. But I put Prabhupada chanting because I like to hear Prabhupada chanting japa. I mean, this modern technology was invented by Krishna's arrangement and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's arrangement for us to take advantage, to increase our attachment to Krishna. There's all kinds of ways to do that. Prabhupada one time told me, when I had the good fortune of massaging his feet at night in May of 1977, and Prabhupada says, if there is any anxiety or any problems or any difficulties, you read that portion of the Bhagavatam, the prayers by Queen Kunti. He says, I tell you, if you read these prayers, all problems, all anxieties, all difficulties will go away. Then Prabhupada said, well, for you, you can chant the Sanskrit, that'll be the same. Then Prabhupada changed the topic and says, did you ever hear the ghost story? I said, what story is that, Prabhupada? He says, oh, you did? I did not tell you? I said, no, I've never heard that story. And then Prabhupada proceeded this. When I moved from Bengal, from Calcutta to Allahabad, and he was also opening another office in Lucknow, somewhere in Uttar Pradesh. He says, I was trying to rent a house, big house, but nobody would touch the house. I said, well, why would they touch the house, Prabhupada? Prabhupada, because there was a ghost. And Prabhupada's eyes became very big. He said, there was a ghost. And I said, well, what did you do? He says, oh, no problem. I took my mridanga. I went all over the house, upper floor, lower floor, in the back, in the front, and I chanted kirtan. And do you know what happened? I said, no, Prabhupada, the ghost went away. I said, yes, Prabhupada. And it says, now you know the ghost story. Basically, but Prabhupada's point was chant the holy name and all the ghosts will go away. All the problems would go away. Yes, Ishan Prabhu, you have a point to make. Hare Krishna.
1968, we were trying to open the Temple Bury Place in London, but we were not zoned to have a temple. It was a residential area. One of the Beatles, Mr. Lennon, John Lennon, invited the devotees to live on his property. There was one man, he was a mason, was doing stonework, creating fireplace in Lennon's house. And he said, but he was being put in another little house on the property where he could live because it's outside of the city. He cannot commute every day. So he was living there just like we were living there. And there was a ghost in his house. And it was brought to Srila Prabhupada's attention. So he told us as devotees, you go to his house on the property of Lennon, and you take mridanga, and you take conch shell, and you take kartals, and you make kirtan. And we all went to his house and had a kirtan in his little cottage, and the ghost was gone. So it's the same story that he reported The rattlings in the attic have stopped. So then, but we were also talking how Lord Chaitanya was delivering this love of Krishna. It's described in the 18th chapter, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and Srila Prabhupada explains. Because we're talking about our relationship with the empowered Acharya. Srila Prabhupada says how Lord Chaitanya became. Actually, Lord Chaitanya doesn't become, but he's showing for us how we become. So Srila Prabhupada quote, the process is that the bona fide spiritual master chants the mantra, and the sound vibration enters into the ear of the disciple. That's the first part. And if the disciple begins to chant with equal respect, that becomes the worship of the holy name. Try to understand that if you read in Harinam, Sri Harinam Chintamani, Haridas Thakur, the Acharya of the holy name, is giving instruction. He says, when you are chanting the holy name, you have to meditate on two people. One is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the other is the spiritual master. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining in teachings of Lord Chaitanya that the process is that one hears the chanting of the Spirit, and if he chants with the same feeling, that becomes the worship of the holy name. This is an apprenticeship program, means he's not teaching us to lay bricks or fix plumbing, he's teaching us how to feel. In 1.5.25, infection of the quality of the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada writes, quote, means to imbibe the taste of devotion in the association of the pure devotee who has that taste. So Srila Prabhupada says, you hear him chanting the processes, and if you chant with the equal feeling, so how do we get that feeling? Go to our songbook. We're singing songs of the Acharyas. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur writes in the prayer, Guru Dev, second verse. The disciple approaches the Acharya who is chanting in ecstasy the holy name, and he says, quote, I offer you all respect, for thus I may acquire the energy by which I can understand your heart. Then, by chanting the holy name in great ecstasy, all my offenses will cease. Isn't this what we sing every morning in Guru Puja? From him this love of Krishna emanates, and if we can catch it, put that in brackets, our ignorance is destroyed. All our offenses will cease. So this is how we're learning how to be devotees in the line of Lord Chaitanya. This is why the spiritual master has to be a Mahabhagavata. Only one who has this love of God, he can share this with us. Therefore, Srila Bhaktivedanta in one other prayer in our songbook says, oh, you who always is tasting the nectar of the holy name, when, oh when, will I hold your feet until the end of time? When, oh when, will that day be mine? Because there's no other way to imbibe the taste of his devotion except to be in this way. Therefore, this idea of that we have a checklist, this karma mimamsa idea of how we develop Krishna consciousness by following the checklist of it, it can go on for 1,000,000 years or 1,000,000 births. But Srila Prabhupada says in chapter 2, verse 72, that one can catch this divine life or Krishna consciousness in 1 second. Or, the quote goes on, one may not acquire it in millions of births. So this means we have to have a personal relationship with the topmost Mahabhagavat devotee, who is taking the taste from the top of the ladder. Srila Prabhupada says, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, those people who were in the presence of Lord Chaitanya, when he would be dancing and chanting in ecstasy, they would be totally inundated. Their hearts would be changed, and they would have imbibed this taste of love of Krishna. And they said, but Srila Prabhupada writes, but that was 500 years ago. How can we imbibe the taste of Lord Chaitanya's devotion today? Srila Prabhupada writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the one can hear the chanting of Lord Chaitanya today through the disciplic succession. So let us understand our philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Let us understand the process, and it is a scientific process by which we have to come very close to our spiritual master, the most intimate. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada writes one last time, I'll say, that the disciple who has genuine love for his spiritual master, to such a disciple, all confidential knowledge is revealed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nice. Are there any questions or in the chat room? Anything interesting to deal with? There is a question from Jayaraj Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have a question. Why Bhagavad Gita is giving more importance and preference than Uddhava Gita, as both are spoken by Lord Krishna? What he is referring to here, Uddhava Gita, is in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, the 11th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna's direct instruction to Uddhava. There is no difference between the teachings of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and the Uddhava Gita. Our acharyas have given equal importance to the Srimad-Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, but generally the Srimad-Bhagavad Gita is the entrance study of spiritual life. That is the general understanding, and Srimad-Bhagavatam is considered more advanced study, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is considered postgraduate study. That is how Prabhupada describes it. Now, the point is, what Ishan Prabhu was describing about imbibing the taste of devotion, why did Prabhupada spend so much time writing these books and these purports? And why are these purports, when I say purports, and I'm also referring to his translation of the text, why are these different books considered so special by Prabhupada? When I'm speaking the books, I'm speaking of the original first edition books. Now, why? This is a very important point. There's an interesting story how one devotee, we use the word senior devotee, although I don't like to use that word many times, but for the purpose of this discussion, how one senior devotee went to Srila Prabhupada and asked him, can you try to translate faster? We want to get more books, more nectar. Prabhupada says, you do not understand. This is not ABCD translation. These purports and these writings are my devotional ecstasies. In other words, what we are seeing in these purports, every word in these purports, provided they have not been adulterated or changed, this is the direct manifestation of Prabhupada's transcendental devotional ecstasy. That's why people should not touch this and try to blame another editor that was directly authorized by Prabhupada Hayagriva to do the editing. This is very important, because in order to understand this point, just like there's a story in Australia how one devotee, Amoga, went to Prabhupada and was telling Srila Prabhupada how one lawyer in Australia had gotten a set of books. He had rendered some service to the society, but he was not reading the books. Prabhupada said he was just keeping there. He was appreciating the books. And Prabhupada says, if he's appreciating these books, it's very important because these books are representative of God. Just like we're raising this point that Krishna came 5,000 years ago, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came approximately 500 years ago. We have no historical connection with Lord Chaitanya, but we have a connection with Srila Prabhupada. Now, that's very important for people to understand because many people say, well, you people, you Ishan and Yasoda and a couple of you directly saw Prabhupada. Many of us never saw Prabhupada. We never want, that is irrelevant. What you have to learn is to hear Prabhupada, to hear the message, to imbibe that devotion that he's giving in his book. That's what we have to learn. Just like in the Bhagavatam in the first canto, there's one place where Prabhupada is explaining one has to associate with sadhu by hearing, not by seeing. And this is the art. Krishna consciousness means the art of affectionately listening and hearing first. Then one can do the kirtana. Without proper shravanam, there is no proper kirtanam. The kirtanam will be defective. That's why we see so many defects with many neophytes trying to change the kirtan patterns that Prabhupada has given, trying to change the message that Prabhupada has given because they've not properly heard. They've not submissively heard. In order to imbibe that devotion, that infectious devotion, one has to submissively hear from the Acharya, assimilate the message, and do some service, some chanting and some service. Then gradually one will understand, or immediately one will understand. In my case, my head is so thick, it takes a long time. That's why I like to hear from God brothers and others who have better realization. Yes, Prabhu, you have a point you want to make, please. You raise your hand.
Oh, I was thinking out loud. But yes, Uddhava and Bhagavad Gita, there's no difference, but Srila Prabhupada is explaining that before you go to college or university, you have to go through the public school system. Same idea. So what are we learning in Bhagavad Gita? That it's not by yoga, it's not by jnana, bahunam janmanamante, millions or thousands of births collecting knowledge, then one has to begin devotion. It's not by Sankhya Yoga. It's all about, and Srila Prabhupada explains in his beginning of teachings of Lord Chaitanya, or Charitamrita, I'm always mixing, that Lord Chaitanya begins where all of these other processes have ended. Lord Chaitanya begins from the point of acting on the platform of the spirit soul. So then Krishna is explaining in Bhagavad Gita that only bhaktya mama bhajanati, or as Srila Prabhupada says in chapter 9 verse 2, Krishna accepts only the love with which things are offered to him. Krishna doesn't need anything that we have to offer, but these are the channels or the carrier or the vehicle through which we cultivate our loving feelings. It's not that these activities, one can do them, but one mechanically, but one should do them. So Uddhava is sent by Krishna to Vrindavan to see how the gopis, what are their feelings of love for Krishna, and what is his prayer? That he's Krishna's personal associate. He's Krishna's personal associate, and he's praying that I should be born as a shrub, as a little plant in Vrindavan, so that the gopis, that when they're walking, they'll put their feet on my head, and I'll get maybe the dust, so that I'll learn what is, imbibe from them the taste of devotion to Krishna. So there's no difference between the teachings in Gita and in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, Uddhava Gita, but first let's get the concept that it's not by Gyan, it's not by karma, it's not by Ashtanga, it's not by meditation, it's not by anything other than love. Bhaktya mama vichanati. Except by love, I do not reveal myself. So where will we get that love? So then, just as Uddhava is showing, that he's taking it by his personal relationship with those who have this love. If we go to Bhagavad in Tadvidi pranipatena paraprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshanaha tadvidi paraprashnena. Look at the word for word. Submissive inquiry. Not just in the purport, nonsense questions and mechanical or nonsense questions and blind following are condemned. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada said, he don't want so many followers. What does he want? One moon. Where does the moon get the light? He gets the light, he's reflecting the light of the sun. Who is the sun? Srila Prabhupada. From him this love of Krishna emanates like the light emanates from the sun. He wants one moon who can receive that emanation of light and reflect towards Krishna. He wants one moon, one devotee. If he says in Bhagavad Gita, preface, last sentence in the preface, what if one becomes a pure devotee, he considers the whole mission a success. He wants one man who can, one man, one Mataji, doesn't matter, who can receive that emanation and reflect that love back towards Krishna Loka, one moon. So he said, Paraprashnena, submissive inquiry. Teaching of Lord Chaitanya, chapter 12. How one surrenders. Number 4, to inquire and learn love from the spiritual master, unquote. Submissive inquiry means, Srila Prabhupada, what is this feeling of love for Krishna? Please share with me. And then, so he says, but that must be submissive means, and not just this conceptual question, but submissive inquiry, paraprashnena, means that my heart is open enough to you that I can feel. So that means one is that trying to become a real disciple, we're trying to have our heart always open to him, to what is this feeling, and then imbibing the taste. Then he says inquiry, submission, and service. The service part means that when I get this taste, then I'm engaging in the activities of Krishna consciousness with this taste in my heart. This means without being, in other words, what is the measure of our inquiry? The measure of our inquiry is how much open our heart is, submissive. And what is the measure of our desire to develop Krishna consciousness? It is to engage in the service, inquiry, submission, and service with that. And Srila Prabhupada writes, the spiritual master in 434 Bhagavad Gita is very kind. And when he sees that the disciple is always inquiry and very submissive and ready to then engage in service in that way, the reciprocation of inquiry and knowledge becomes perfect. That's how it happens. This is the science of Krishna. It's a science, we have to understand it. It's not a mechanical process. There's one quote I have on my computer where Srila Prabhupada says that if one engages mechanically in chanting and doing all of these things, there will be, quote, a mitigation of the unwanted miseries of material existence, but the dormant love of Krishna will not be awakened in this way. It's a very powerful process, but what we're trying to do is to cultivate Krishna consciousness. We say it all the time, under his guidance, in the association of a pure devotee. So we, we have to take all of these statements and assimilate and understand that the science of Krishna consciousness in the Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya is to imbibe the taste of love of Krishna that Lord Chaitanya is distributing through his disciplic succession, and that, just like in Chaitanya, praying at the lotus feet of Rupa Raghunath, always desiring his mercy, their mercy. I want to understand, what is this devotion? I engage in my service, and his service was writing the book, always following in their footsteps. Anuga, it means to imbibe and follow in the mood of the teacher. And so he's saying, praying, so what is it? With ardent desire to understand what is this mood of love of Krishna, or devotional feeling, I'm praying at the lotus feet of my spiritual master, always desiring his mercy, so that I can then engage in my service, following in his footsteps. That is what Prabhupada Anuga means. Anuga means following in the internal mood. And Nectar of Instruction, Srila Prabhupada writes, one should not judge the spiritual master, the pure devotee, from his external appearance. One should try to understand his internal feeling. That is our relationship with the pure devotee. That only a pure devotee and no one else can give us that. Otherwise, we call it scam. Promising to deliver something which we don't have in our possession. Hare Krishna.
Very important points that are being raised. I just want to read one verse that you alluded to. That's a Sanskrit verse from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that really summarizes Prabhupada's teachings. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Matihi Kriyatam Yadikutu Api Labhyate Tatra Lauryam Api Mulyam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukriter Nalabhyate. Pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be had even by pious activity in hundreds and thousands of lives. It can be attained only by paying one price, that is, intense greed to obtain it. If it is available somewhere, one must purchase it without delay. And this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya chapter 8, text 70. I think we're reaching towards the end of the program. And thank you very much, Ishan, for these very enlightening points that you've raised. I think what we will do here is go on towards the end of the program. Are there any other questions or any other remarks from anyone? Where is this last quote from Ishan Prabhu? Could you repeat, please? Okay, what is he referring to? Last quote from Ishan Prabhu from Abhiram Thakur. What quote are you referring to, Prabhu? Abhiram Prabhu, what quote are you referring to? I guess he's not there, or he's gone. Okay, let us conclude the program. We can have a kirtan And next
Oh,
week,
Hare
when we
Krishna.
get... Okay, Prabhu, go ahead. Go ahead. Hare
Sorry,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I didn't find how to unmute it. So Ishan Prabhu was saying that on his computer he has this quote which is saying about mechanical chanting. It's very important. Can you repeat where does that come from? I just want to find it.
I will give this to Yaśodā. I don't have it in front of me, but it is very specific word for word. I'll give you, because I've memorized it because it's so mechanically engaging in Krishna consciousness. There will be a mitigation, Srila Prabhupada said, mitigation of the unwanted miseries of material existence. However, our dormant Krishna consciousness will never be reawakened in this way. And I will make this available to you. I will make this available to anyone, but I don't have it in front of me right now. I'll forward it to Yaśodā. Maybe he can give it to you, or you can. I'm ishandas@gmail.com. Ishandas, ISHANDAS @gmail.com. Send me your email address. I'll mail it to you.
Very good.
Okay, thank you. You have my email. Yeah, I'll remind it. Yeah, I have your email. Thank you. Thank you,
Hare
Ishan.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Let us proceed to offer our respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnavas, and then we will have the kirtan. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer a respectful obeisance unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in this lively, interesting program. Vijay Pandit Prabhu, Ishan Prabhu, thanks very much our host in Bombay, India, Rupa Goswami Prabhu Ram Raghava, and our good friend Dr. Shyam Prabhu in Florida, and everybody else participating. Thank you for participating in the program. We invite you to come again next week. This week, we have the appearance of Srivas Thakur according to the Mayapur calendar. It is coming up on Wednesday, 11th of March, Srivas Pandit. So we will have some reading about members of the Pancha Tattva next week, and specifically about Srivas Thakur. And also we will continue some of our reading about the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the beautiful citations compiled by some devotees. Thanks everybody for participating. Let's have the kirtan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Radha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Radha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Hare